You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the August 2nd, 2022 meeting of the LaPorte County Parks and Recreation Board. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
To order the August 2nd meeting of the LaPorte County Park Board. Can we have a roll call? Do we don't have a list?
No, it's all in that.
Okay, I'll do it.
Okay. all right.
Mary Nell,
I'm here.
and that would be Amanda Nebelung is not here. Mike King,
I'm here.
Aaron,
I'm here.
Jim,
Here.
Ron,
Here.
and Mary.
Here.
Okay.
Have a quorum.
We have a quorum. So is there any discussion about the agenda? Looks pretty full.
I move to approve the agenda.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. How about the minutes? Any questions about the minutes from the last meeting? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Financial report. Any questions about the financial report?
I'll just go over my main thing like I always do. You'll see some more zeros starting to pop up there. So that's normal for the end of July. We did go back on propane and ask for some more money on propane, and they gave us that.
Good.
That'll still say zero, but it came out of riverboat money, so that we were able to do that. I plan on soon I will have to go back for fuel money because I think we're about out of fuel money, and I just picked up a bill today, so we'll be pushing it on that. And then a lot of times at this time of year we start paying for some things out of non-reverting and stuff to try to help out and things like that. But it's pretty normal for where we're at in the year. So.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Can I have a motion to approve the financial report?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay, superintendent's report.
First thing, Bloom Playground update. I just wanted to mention in your packet there, you'll see a announcement for the grand opening of the playground out at Bloom. It's August 13th, Saturday at 10 a.m. We're going to have, of course, the ribbon cutting and music and crafts for the kids and snacks and some different activities for them to do. But just wanted to thank again the Healthcare Foundation of LaPorte and the commission and council for approving the parking lot, and then our Park Foundation for the restroom. So that'll be exciting. We're pretty much wrapping it up. The guys were putting in benches today and signs, signs up, and then there's a few other things to do. The contractor still has a few things to finish up. They were supposed to be here tomorrow, but par for this project, I just got a call as I got here that the guy's transmission broke in his truck, so he will be here on Thursday morning to pretty much finish everything up on the contractor's end. None of it's things that are, detrimental to the playground. It can still be used. Obviously, we've been using it, but it's just a couple of things that need to be finished up and touch up paint and things like that.
Not safety concerns.
Yeah, no, not safety concerns at all. So, so that's on the playground. That's that. Update on the Siebert property. There's a picture in there on the next to last page. We've got a sign up and parking lot. You can see the parking lot in the background, the gravel going in. Basically, all we need to do now is put parking bumpers around the edges, and then there's a boardwalk back there, but even right now it's dry anyway, so the trail can be used. Trail markers are all up. Mary Nell went out and walked it and found a mistake that I made, so I admit I do make some mistakes regularly.
So minor.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful trail.
Yes,
and
it's very nice. I was
yeah.
happy to see some of the plants that I saw there. It was great, and the area looks really nice.
Yeah, so I hope to do, once we get finalize everything done, I'll open it, soft opening to the public, and then I hope to do a grand opening at some time, maybe this fall after it cools a little bit, September sometime. My hope is, I talked to the DNR nature preserves guy, and he said he could come and do a hike with people and kind of point out some of the cool plants and rare stuff, and that would be, I think that would be a big plus. I'm still working on getting a map, the map produced. I should have that by next week, that we can make a sign at the beginning to show where the map is, and then we'll have brochure maps too that we can put out there. So yeah, it's coming along. Office hours, we changed our office hours from Monday through Thursday 7 to 5 to Monday through Friday 7 to 3. We are super slammed at about 2:45 every day. It seems like everybody's coming in, hurrying up and trying to get in, and then on Friday, I don't know that everybody knows we're open yet, so it's fairly slow, but there's still phone calls and stuff, but I do think it's, in the long run, I think it's going to be better for the patrons. And the fact that we're there when that is rented on Fridays a lot of times is a good thing too. Lastly on there that I wanted to mention was the Red Mill and Creek Ridge Playground funding request. So I've told you guys about this, but basically we got $200,000 from the council, from the ARP money, and then the Healthcare Foundation gave us $150,000. And I was and that was about the cost that it was going to be when I originally got the first prices, and then of course, prices of everything have gone up. So we got our pricing again for the same equipment, same everything, because that was 6 months ago or so, and it went up by about $40,000 with the install and everything else. So now I've talked to the Healthcare Foundation and trying to figure out how we're going to do this. They haven't committed to anything yet, but I did talk to the Park Foundation, and they've basically put up half of that, $20,000 already. So we're already close, and we'll get it. I mean, even if we have non-reverting, or I can see if the council can help us out, or Healthcare Foundation, I hope will. I think they probably will, but it's up to their board. We just have to see what we can do. So that's that. But it's one of those things. We do these playgrounds like once every 20 years, like I said with the Bloom Playground or any of these playgrounds, is we do them once every 20 to 25 years. So I don't want to skimp on it. I want it to be something that's bringing people in, and you'll see in the park counts and stuff that Bloom is already up, and we're always busy there now. You can't go out there unless it's raining, that there's not people there, and that was not always the case at Bloom. So I think just that playground and the nice restrooms and stuff like that, we're just really moving forward with that. So I'd want to keep the same thing going with Red Mill and Creek Ridge. So.
And I just think the accessibility from when I was out, I mean, it's just a very accessible park for all else, anybody. I just think it's
sidewalks to everything, and then like the ramp goes right off the sidewalk onto the play units, and so it's great. Nothing but good positive feedback from that so far.
I agree.
Good.
Okay, any other questions for Jeremy? Okay.
I mean, we on the program, just down the report there on the program report, we're struggling to had struggled all season to find help, and we're losing several of our seasonal people as soon as school starts back up. So we're going to be way short-handed, and so we made the decision to go ahead and cancel Pioneer Days, which I emailed you all about. And, we didn't make that decision easily. Yes, we could have had plenty of volunteers show up the day of, but it takes, quite a bit of that week to get things set up, and not just that week, but, throughout the time. So we had to cancel it, and for respect to the vendors and things like that were coming in, I didn't want to leave them hanging at the last minute either. Like, they're expecting to come there and have a place that they're selling their foods and stuff like that, and then last minute cancel on them because we can't do it. So we made that call early, and just like I said, I just wanted to say it to the public that we had to cancel that event. So, and then also in there, we've had quite a few programs that do really, really well, and then we also have programs that don't do well, and whether it's the program itself or whether it's the way they're advertised, I don't know, but we're talking, starting to talk about how maybe we can advertise more effectively, because Facebook is one thing, but some people don't always go on Facebook, and even if you advertise it like crazy on Facebook, some people will say, "Oh, I never saw it," So it's like, okay, so where do we need to land here to make sure that these programs that the programming staff puts all this work into actually get enough people to sign up that we do them. So going to be working with Nikki, who is only going to be here for about how many months, how many days, until March.
March 2nd.
Yeah, so going to be working with Nikki and Laura and trying to see what we can do on that. And then also,
I would like to say about the advertising, something that really hurt us is when the county got rid of the in-house printing, because we were allowed to print flyers, as in half-page flyers, without having to pay much, and then we could take them to the school kids. Yeah. So we were actually handing each kid, and that was like 12,000 flyers in each school district. They all got to take it home, and that was a really good way to advertise. And that has hurt us, not being able to do that anymore, because it'd be way too expensive to print flyers at a printing place. Yeah. So that kind of, hurt us in the long run.
Yeah, and then I think, didn't Michigan City Schools stop allowing us to give them out at all?
Yes, and they said, you can put it on our webpage, but that doesn't have the same traffic as the kid taking that flyer.
Right.
And we would always ask people when they came to programs, well, how did you hear about it? And almost all of them said the flyer I got at school. So, yeah. And like Jeremy said, some programs we fill up with, no matter what. Yeah. So it could, the word's just not getting to the right people. So.
And we put it on like LaPorte's webpage. If you go on LaPorte County, the school corporation webpage, it's on there. That's it's LaPorte County Parks. LaPorte, a lot of times right there. And
when we do the paper,
it's just not the same.
It's just like.
Yeah, no, it's not the same. People don't go to that website and look for what to do in the community.
And then print it off and put it on the refrigerator.
Yeah.
If they had that flyer, they stuck that on their refrigerator, and they were always looking for that because we did it 3 times a year with our programs.
It's the transition between digital and paper. Like usually people my age be like a piece of paper. Then I can look at it, I know it's there, and that. But it is that transition. And the only thing I can say is that I just would like to encourage the teachers, from a teacher perspective, to put it on your class dojo, put it on your little streams, put it on the Facebook, because that's how we did it, and that was more effective, because then people see it, but it's the reminder of that hard copy that is, we are missing that element. Yeah.
And we saw a difference. I mean, it was obvious when we quit doing them. So because it, like I said, we gave 12,000 of those flyers out, so, yeah.
So I think what we're, some of the things we're talking about is upgrading our website, and I've got that under one of the other things, but I can go ahead and mention that now, is that, Nikki she created the website. She did, all of that, has maintained it throughout her career and has done a great job, but I think maybe that's one place we can possibly, update and move, get a lot more hits and things like that if we work with a professional company or something and see what we can come up with to really promote the website of things. Because all of this is on our website, but as far as the programs and all that stuff, but are we getting the hits that we really could if we had a professional? Not saying Nikki's not a professional.
No. Well, even like, your phone, our webpage is not the greatest to look at on your phone.
On the phone.
But part of that is, my abilities. You know, a professional could make something that's better for a phone and that kind of stuff. So if you went with a professional, but you're gonna pay. And we had looked into it before, and to just even like put your programs on it, it was not gonna be cheap. Where right now I can change the website every day, all day long. You know, so if we wanted to put a program on there tomorrow, I'd just go put it on there. But we won't be able to do that if you get a professional.
Yeah. And the county just redid theirs because it was similar. You open it up on your phone and it wasn't phone friendly, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk with some of the people that worked on that and see if we can you know, kind of work with the same people and see what we can do. But so.
Nikki, when we do the, I'm just thinking of the way the Friendship Garden one comes through on my Facebook. For example, like it'll come up and it'll say like, "Are you interested in this event?" And then I can save it on my Facebook link. When we have ours, do they come up like that?
If we do Facebook, see, that's not web page.
If we do
I'm just saying
an
that's
event
how my
on
brain-
Facebook.
Yes,
Well, 'cause
it's
like-
an event on Facebook.
Yes.
And we do events on Facebook if they're free. The problem with doing one that if they're not free, people think they can just put that they're coming.
Right.
Oh,
So
I get you.
we can't do that because they have to pay and register. So the
That-
free ones,
yeah.
we do an event, and then you'll get a thing pop up. Oh,
Right, that's
Kids
like then
Fishing Fun
then it's
Day.
like, oh, you're
Yes.
supposed to be here.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I mean I don't.
Yes, so like Kids Fishing Fun Day, when we did it,
Absolutely,
it
it pops
pops
up,
up.
right.
And every month you might get a reminder up until, you know,
A couple
it
of-
happens. But when we charge,
I get it. Yeah.
even then people are like, well, I registered. And I'm like, oh, no.
You just said you were interested.
Yes,
Yeah.
you were interested.
So yeah, we've tried that and ran
Yes.
into that
Okay.
problem.
Well, I just was curious. I
But
just am
yeah.
trying to brainstorm. I mean, I'm.
Which, those are all great
Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah, I don't know.
mean, any
And
ideas are-
you know, to be honest, we charge for maybe
yeah.
not even half of our programs, and it's usually if there's a cost or a craft or something that we're buying materials for, and you know, we're not. It'll be $5 or $15 for the daddy-daughter dance. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really not much. Yeah, I mean that's. And we've always said if there's somebody that can't afford it, call us. I mean, call us and we'll talk about it. It's never something that we would exclude anybody who, you know, really has a problem on that. So
Yeah, I always told the kids, we'll find you donation, we'll get it.
yeah.
Well, and I even think, you know, when new folks come on, you know, they might be more into Instagram and some of those other things, which I'm not, you know, so, you know, you'll have fresh new ideas, you know, for advertising too, so.
Well, and if we do go with, you know, a service that provides, you know, a website and so on, it's possible to get one that's more modular, where you can have like a skeleton of it, so you don't have to go through them for every change, so they can set things up, but then you'd be able to set, you know, work with some
Yes.
things within it.
Yeah.
You would still need a program on a computer to
Correct.
be able to
Yeah,
access
true.
it, and you would need someone that could do that too.
So, yeah, and there's things that, you know, there's things that came up even recently that kind of spurred this conversation. Like we had somebody that wanted to donate money, and he was like, I just want to click on the webpage and donate money. I don't want to have to send you a check, or, you know, and it's, so I mean, you know, our Park Foundation, we could have a link to that, to where and then they could have, you know, a place to donate. They could have, you know, all of these type of things are things that we just don't have the capability of doing with what we have. So, and since Nikki's retiring, it's kind of just the time to start maybe thinking about this. Or she says she is. Everybody tells her she's not, but
That's what I just told her when I came in. I don't know where you think you're going.
anyway, so yeah, those are, yeah, there's going to be a lot of things that are, coming
A
up.
lot of new,
Yeah.
different, but that is always not bad.
Yep.
It'll be nice because we'll have new stuff, so, new and exciting things. So.
You're pretty exciting. We'll keep you forever. I mean,
So, well, and with that being said, I guess it's probably public enough knowledge now too that I got word from Laura that she will be retiring in April. So the next month after Nikki's gone we're gonna have, basically both of our programming staff are gonna be retiring, so, yeah, I'll keep mentioning that at every meeting, so that if somebody's just, thinking they might wanna be a programmer, we're gonna be needing some good programmers to step right in and really keep this momentum going that they've gotten over the years, so, how many thousand kids we see every year and how many thousand people we see at our programs, that's, we want somebody that's gonna be able to step right in there, so. But, okay. And then the last thing under superintendent's reports, the update on rental counts and park visitation, I just, I run the numbers every year to see how we're doing, and throughout the year, just to make sure you don't have this paper in your, don't, everybody looking for it, I know that. So I basically, I count how many available days we have, like for Smith Hall, I do Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because those are the days. We don't rent a lot of weekdays. Those are just by chance, or somebody needs a meeting or something. And then for everything else, the EEC and then all the shelters, I just do Saturday, Sunday. So up until the end of July, like last year, which, last year was still a little slow because of COVID. People were still afraid to gather, and indoors especially. But just at Smith Hall, we're up by 20 rentals, and that's from 49 to 69. So that's almost, a third, of our rentals, and which is great when you think about, say that average is about $250 for that. You're talking about almost $5,000, which is almost 8 to 10% of our revenue for the year. So we're way up, and that 2020 was similar numbers or lower because of COVID, and then 2019 was similar to what last year was, maybe a few more, but yeah. So, and then every other category is up except for the Prairie shelter, which is usually one of our busiest shelters. I don't understand. I think maybe because of this shelter added, and then the other one that's down is the Morgan shelter, which is right over here, which I think this one probably for sure took away some of those, but it's not down by much. It's just a handful, but I mean, this shelter is just bonus, it wasn't here before, so. But yeah, we're up. Visitation at Bloom, it typically runs 5,000 to 6,000 per month throughout the summer, and it was up to over like 7,200 or 7,300 last month. So just the first month that we really started getting that playground going and everything done, we're already up, almost 20 or 50%, 50% of what it used to be. So. So yeah, visitation, I think this year is going to be even higher. And with COVID and 2021, I think our visitation numbers were higher than they have been for years. So I think it's great. I mean,
and the more people experience the parks, the more they see how wonderful they are, and they're going to use it more often. So
yeah.
Okay. So we're ready to move to standing committee reports.
Yep.
Okay, executive committee, as far as I can tell, we don't have a report, anything to report on. Budget committee?
So the parks went in front of the county council last week for the budget hearings, and thank you for the council and commissioners and all that for approving some of our budget. But if you go to page 12, you can see that there have been some increases from last year. So maintenance went from $5,000 to $7,500. Gas, of course, went from $8,500 to $11,000, and propane increased about $2,000. So we're glad to get those increases for this next coming year.
Great.
The other, in the 100 accounts, which is our salaries, the maintenance one will increase. This is an old one before they approved that new position, that full-time position. So that'll increase some. But other than that, the only other increases in the 1,000 or 100 accounts are the, for step increases, and then if we get raises throughout for the year, so.
Okay, Personnel Committee.
We're in the process of hiring a new maintenance technician position. Jeremy's had some excellent candidates come through. He's working on interviewing them and sorting through them, and we're excited to get that position up and running.
Great.
Yeah, because it'll come just in time, because
Yeah.
about the middle of the month here, they go back, our others will go back to school, so we're gonna be really short-handed again. Right now, we're actually in pretty good shape, the seasonals and all that stuff, and then here in a couple weeks, it's just gonna,
So you're right off, yeah.
Lots of work yet, and
Yeah.
not too many people.
yeah.
Okay, Property Committee.
Well, Jeremy already mentioned the
Seabird.
status of Seabird Woods, and that's really,
Yeah, the only other thing I would mention on property is that Bloom project from the DNR, and I didn't have that in here, but, right now, the only holdup is the drainage board vacating that legal drain so that the project on the back page, the very back page, can start moving forward. So this is now the proposed project. They're looking at vacating that legal drain that runs the entire length from all the way from the north all the way to the south of that property, and they're looking at making that now a winding stream back to what it was back, before it became a legal drain, a ditch, basically a drainage ditch. So this will completely change that woods, the look of that woods when you go in there, and everything, and then they would restore these wetlands, purchase about another, I forget, 42 acres. So it's almost gonna double this size of this portion of our woods at Bloom. They would purchase it, restore these wetlands, restore this stream, and then give us the property and put in trails and have a maintenance fund for that part of the property. So it's.
And how long would that maintenance fund, continue?
That's a good question. I'm not sure exactly on that, but I know that they have an expectation of keeping those wetlands and stuff restored to a certain level. So, I'm gonna be in the contact with them and work on that. But yeah, it's and where this money's coming from is when builders build and they impact a wetland, instead of just doing a mitigation and going and putting in a small wetland somewhere, and there we put in our wetland, they put money into a pot down in Indianapolis that the DNR is in charge of, and they can pick out more meaningful wetland projects in those regions and use that money and work. They usually try to work with a partner that can actually, be there and maintain them, instead of just putting in a wetland somewhere on somebody's property and leaving it, So I think this is a really good program, and from what I've seen of the projects they've been showing me, that they're meant to be really impactful instead of just, a project that meets the criteria of wetland mitigation, so.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Very good.
I'm sorry, I was going to ask a little bit on timing of that.
It'll take a couple years,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah.
So once the drainage board vacates that legal drain, which should happen in the next month and a half to 2 months, because I think they have to do 2 readings. I believe they have to do that to make it public, make sure everybody knows that they're doing this. Then the DNR will start getting, appraisals, and so, it's land acquisition. So anytime the state is trying to buy land, it takes a while.
Sure.
And, they're going to work with the landowner to make sure that, if he's got crops in there, they're not going to say, okay, we're buying it, we're tearing your crops out. And, they're going to, so that may take a little longer if they have to wait till after the harvest, and then he's done with it, after he sells it, then he wouldn't plant it the next year. But so yeah, it's gonna be a little while.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, any other questions about property? Planning committee. Mary?
I'll just talk about this one if you want. So I'll pass this around. There's, this is the, I had a meeting with Pat Brown, our consultant on the master plan, and these are his recommendations on the scheduling for the next, for the master plan and meetings. He was suggesting that we try to have another park board or another public meeting, whether that be at the next, another park board meeting on September 6th, or we try to do one separately. He was suggesting that we just at least try to have one more public meeting. And we have public meeting input on every one of our park board meetings, but he's saying to try to push to get people to come, just so the DNR shows that we did made a good effort. So he was hoping the board could come up with a date there on one of those 3 dates, whether we wanted to try to do it at a park board meeting or on September 6th, or try to do a Thursday in August. So I don't know what to say would be best. I mean, it just seems like we can't get people to show up for that, but
I'd say you should do it during the park board meeting, just because it gives a little bit more time for promotion and those kind of things. Otherwise, these 2 dates, I don't know if you'll have anybody show up.
Yeah,
It's kind of
I would
close.
agree. It's still, I mean, kids are coming back to school, but it's still that transition time where families probably aren't going to be available. And park board meetings have always been on Tuesdays. They've always been at 5 o'clock. That's something that people can kind of count on, and it makes it easier for us as well to be able to attend.
I think I'll try and push it with the local Audubon group to have people show up for that, whenever it is.
okay. And I'll mention that or get that set up, and then we'll start trying to promote that as well.
Okay.
So then the next steps, the September 6th would be a presentation of the draft of the 5-year action plan, which we've been working on, getting that together. October 4th is the presentation of the 5-year budget, which is also being worked on. And then December 6th would be the presentation of the draft of the actual master plan. Sorry, that was for you. And then we would submit that to the DNR after the board approves the draft. Okay, and that draft can be as done or as not done as you want. You know, it can go down to the DNR and they could come back with a lot of red pen marks on it, right? Or it can be pretty much done and they're just gonna, and that's what we're gonna shoot for, so that I can get it to them, and then when it comes back, there's just minor changes. And then February 7th, we would present the final and get the adoption of the master plan by the board, and then submit it to DNR, and then the adoption would be, if their backup date, if it's not done, we would do it March 7th, so. But otherwise, we'll shoot for September 6th for another public meeting. And webpage, I think we kind of already discussed that, so.
I guess I'm concerned about those dates.
Okay. Rules Committee?
We met to discuss the memorial program, and mostly it was about the verbiage on the program, on the memorials that we offer, and to include the dog memorials as well, because we have a lot of folks that do utilize the dog parks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I can talk a little bit about it. In the past, we've never had a warranty, right? So somebody buys a bench and you know, donates to the Park Foundation to put a bench in our property, and then if the bench falls into disrepair after 30 years, are we supposed to fix it? Are we supposed to, you know, what do we do at that point? I mean, these benches are expensive, right? So do we fix it? Do we, many of the other parks departments have a warranty period on it. So it's, and most of them that I saw was like a 15-year warranty period. So
Which
if
is,
that
for the
bench-
most part, the manufacturer's warranty.
yeah, that's the manufacturer's warranty on those benches, right? So if something happens to the bench, say a tree falls on it, okay, we're gonna replace your bench after 5 years if a tree falls on it. But if after 15 years, and this would be communicated to people ahead of time that buy the bench, like after 15 years, just know that if something happens and we have to tear that bench out, we're not putting it back in with your information on it. So, and then for the bricks, they would, for the brick walkways like up here at the Nature Center and then out at Red Mill, it would be a 3-year from the date of purchase. And the dog memorials, we've never done this, but some of the parks on the back side of that information there, people. Some of the parks are hanging like a memorial bone shape or something on the fence for people to be able to donate to basically to the dog park or to remember their dog that they loved or whatever. So I didn't know, so the way this has always worked is the Park Foundation receives those donations and then we ask them for money for different things, which they're always willing to provide, which they've bought many things for these parks and done much of the reason you can see out through this woods is because they've done invasive species removal in here, which is something we wouldn't have the money to do, right? So those are the type of things the Park Foundation does. There was 15-foot tall bush honeysuckle through this whole woods. You couldn't see past the trees, So this is just maybe a thought of another way to get a little more, donation going for the foundation board. But it's up to you if we want to have signs on the dog parks or anything like that as far as that goes. So just wanted to bring that one up for discussion and see what you thought about it.
When you say signs, you mean like the dog, what signs do you mean?
They're on the back side of
The dog bone.
The dog bone?
Yeah, the dog
Oh, yes,
bones.
yes,
Yep,
yeah.
yep, the dog bones.
I would really like that idea a lot, and I think it would be a nice fundraiser,
Yes, I think so too. And there are people that want their animals memorialized. They're like family members.
Yeah.
So,
And I would say the same thing on something like that. I have no idea what they would cost because I haven't even looked into it. I didn't want to spend a bunch of time on it until we discussed it. But I would think it would be something like a 5-year warranty period on them because they're going to be like recycled plastic, I think.
About vandalism. It's hard to vandalize a bench, and vandalizing a brick is not going to happen, but this seems like something that...
It could be. We don't... I don't even want to say it, but we don't struggle from vandalism a lot now, and that's always a good question, But the good thing about it is these people that use these dog parks, if they were to see somebody doing it, it would be over quick. They do not take kindly to somebody tearing up their dog park.
and I think the video monitoring that we have has sent a message that we take care and take after our parks.
Yeah.
So those two things would help.
But it's always a concern. It really always is. So.
The only other comment I had, and I like the start of this, is on an example that was shown. I think they spent a lot of time saying, we're not going to have language that's this, or this, or this, or this. And I don't think we need to say that. I think just have a general, acceptable language to be approved by the staff or something.
Oh, yeah.
Because they started really detailing things.
Getting into detail
and people
about
are like,
what we
oh,
don't.
well, maybe how can I get around that?
Yeah.
And I think just...
So it'd just be something approval by the staff. Okay,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, yeah. Thank you for that, because I didn't even think about
It
it.
seemed to take up a lot of space that wasn't related to the actual sign part.
Okay, yeah, we'll come up with something and maybe pitch that back out to the Rules Committee and
And then update that,
Yeah.
the pamphlet that is available for folks.
Yep.
Do we need a motion that says we'd like to, dog
Allow
memorials to be
those.
investigated or
Yeah,
something?
yeah, or if a motion maybe that we want to allow these dog memorials. The others are already there, so if
Okay.
you guys are wanting to do that.
Sure. Can I have a motion that we will allow dog memorials to be placed on the dog parks?
Yes.
And a second? All in favor? Ayes have it. Okay, that was pretty easy.
And then the last thing under the rules there, so
Smith Hall.
so I emailed, we actually, in the last few weeks, for some reason, we had several people kind of question this and almost complain about it. So when somebody rents the hall on a Friday, Saturday, or even in the evening, when we're not open, it's always been on here that the park itself, it says the park itself will remain open to the public along with the foyer and restrooms. So my concern, and I've always thought that's kind of weird, because if you're renting the hall and somebody comes in there and just rips something up, rips a mirror off the wall in the bathroom, then they would be responsible for that because they were the ones that rented the hall. And it doesn't make any sense to me, to say that we should hold them responsible for the public using that bathroom when they rented that facility, when the office is closed. If the office is open, we can monitor it and make sure nobody's going to be tearing something up. But so my thought was to, and this is kind of what I had discussed on an email, was to put something like this, post something like this on the door and have it on our rental agreement form, that basically it says, do not enter this building for public restrooms after 3 p.m. on Monday through Friday or all day Saturday and Sunday. Canada Lodge restrooms are only open to the public during administrative office hours of 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. Outside of those hours, public restrooms are available inside the South Gate or the Porta-John near Canada Lodge parking lot.
And this protects both the park department as well as the individual renting that facility, because he's not held accountable for damage he did not do.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to be getting in there except for his people. And the park department is protected to say, nobody else was here, so it had to be your people. So I think it works on both ends.
I think this sounds good.
So, and that was, we had that down for a vote under new business as well, so.
Okay, do you want to go ahead and vote on that now?
So that will change the rental agreement then, so some
Okay.
of those things. So do we have to motion both of
Yeah, we should
those,
have a
or-
motion. Can I have a motion to accept the changes to the rental agreement for Smith Hall with the publication of the notice on the door?
I make that motion.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Ayes have it. Okay, so that was new business. Do we have any old business?
Not that I know of. We talked about a lot of business.
I was going to say, this has been one of the longer meetings that I've ever been to. Maybe the longest, I'm not sure. Any public comment?
Yes, if I may.
Yes, you may.
Mike Rosenbaum, County Council.
Yes.
Also a citizen living in the city of LaPorte. There's a few things that have come up, and I just want to keep bringing to your attention.
Okay.
Jeremy and I have had some discussion on this, and you don't know where I'm going yet, so don't worry. You'll figure it all out. When it comes to fuel, we know the county has been working on keeping some money in reserve to be able to handle that, so that shouldn't be a big deal. But the idea of goosing things up because inflation's hitting, we did that during the meetings, and we were glad that you planned for it. But if things start getting very severe, we'll have to start doing more serious planning for it. I'd like to really thank you for your opening on Fridays. With the way the work weeks are now, where they're 4-day work weeks, for a lot of families, the Fridays become very important to have somebody physically here, and it opens up eyes, doors, and it just takes time. I know when we went the other way, closing Fridays business, people were still showing up at the door and stuff, but the other way it eventually happened. You talked about the playground funding and then how quickly the additional costs. ARPA funds are here now. They are not going to be here after the next 3 to 4 years. I think we'll spend it the next 2. I'm going to tell you, keep going for 100% of it. I've encouraged you to go ask for more and more. The parking lots are one of the things that you've got because of it. And I'm going to suggest that you tell your group, the foundation group, there are things that the county will not fund. and let them fund the things that you know they will. Keep telling them it's quality of life stuff, and they're going to fund it. And you know, I can tell you just by reading some of the other council members, and so and you have all positive history with everybody. There is a tremendous push in the city of LaPorte for quality of life issues in their parks, and so you're going to benefit from that scuttle as well. So I'm going to tell you, while it's there, grab it and just keep grabbing, and don't feel like you're being a pig about it. It is what it is, the right time to grab and create. That's what that money was for, and we've been very slow in spending it. And the best news, with Joe's not here, is that the commissioners can pretty much almost no longer dictate anything more what they would like to be spent out of it, because the lost revenue second calculation, we've already spent their side of the money. So it now becomes under the entire control of the council, and we're not ready to start giving it away to every specialty group that's out there, and we have given some money away like that. You talked about the advertising and how, and I'm going to talk about two things here in the printing and stuff like that. I don't know what you've done with working with the County Visitors Bureau, the CVB, on working with them for advertising. I know they love things a year in advance, so they can throw it in their little booklet and they get a little fixated and stuff like that, because I was involved with people engaged in preservation, and you know, we used to do those tours until COVID hit, and then it was kind of ridiculous to work with them at some times, but there were some things that you could squeeze out of them, and that I don't know if there's any possibility there. The printing, there was one councilman, I'm not even going to mention his name, you know who it was, and who really just slashed that program and didn't really look at what how it was benefiting other areas. If you need more money for printing for flyers, then you should be putting that in your budget. You should be squeezing $2,000 more, and you should be putting that in that line. So please consider that. If not, you know, for next year, if there's an opportunity to do that, I'm going to suggest. I know that we're trying to move. Everybody's trying to move to paperless. You know, businesses are doing it. I'm a product of that. I work from home, and my headquarters is in Mississippi, so I have a scanner. So if I have paper, I get the scanner in, and then it goes away very fast. We have to speak to each school district as far as it goes to get emails to the parents. I think that's a great avenue. Parents read their teachers' emails. It is unbelievable how much they do. And I know this because when I substituted for 5 weeks and did not have access to it, the big complaint that the parents had is that they went cold turkey of not knowing what was going on, because I was not, you know, I was not an official teacher, but for 5 weeks in a classroom, I don't know what you called me, but at that point, certainly loving those kids, it was hard to leave. You talked about professional help. The county uses Sarah Solutions, which is here in LaPorte, the city of LaPorte. They are a good outfit for certain things, for your basic, you know, getting a website started and some other things. But if you're looking to do real promotional material, if you want to talk about the parks and get somebody to come in here and do videos, I'm going to suggest you take a look at Dunlin Media, which is also in downtown. They do a lot more of it, and you know, they currently did all the work on Lake Fest, and you're going to start seeing a lot. I've seen a little promos of it, and you're going to see that they're using drones, they're using everything, just like you would expect. And I don't know that Surf Solutions isn't doing it. I just know who is, and what I have seen and I can tell you. Both of them being local is nice. And there may be others that also do these things, but those are the two that I know that have worked with government agencies, and their costs have been, for the most part, affordable. And for special projects like this, it may be worthwhile. 9/6, it's 46 years for me that I'm married, and 56, I know my wife, so I won't be here. So with that, thank you for your time.
And to Sarah and Duneland is exactly who was mentioned by our Park Foundation too. So I think those are definitely two places we can start on, to start talking to some people.
Right.
Website.
And I can also tell you, printing, locally Hawkins will come down in price on a lot of things, so.
Yeah, we use them a lot. So.
I'm gonna tell you, they've been, I've seen where they, the better you make it for them, the easier you make it for them, and we can't help that we can't pay quicker, because of the system. Just be grateful you're not an attorney. That was my last one.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, any other public comment? Okay, board and staff. Yes.
Nothing new on Birdtown this week. But I did want to put out a suggestion for one of the programs of Tai Chi. I don't know if that's been tried.
It has been.
How'd it go?
No one
Okay.
registered.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So you're welcome.
That's all I got this time.
Okay, anyone else have a comment from the board, staff? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
And a second? All in favor? Ayes have it, we are adjourned.